Strong Point Financial in the Black. I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt. Today I'm with founder Chance Robinson of Strong Point Financial. Welcome to the program, my friend.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you because, you know, you've got quite the legacy yourself, young man. I mean, so tell me, first of all, I understand you served some time in the military.
Yeah.
So what branch?
I was in the Army, Intel, 98 Kilo. Right after September 11th happened, you know, I'm the kind of person, I went down there, I was like, hey, I know you guys are going to need some help. You give me a job and I'll get it done.
Wow. So what did you end up doing in the military?
So 98 Kilo was a satellite signal collection identification analyst. Basically the big eye in the sky that's watching everything that's going on.
Ooh.
And when something's happening that shouldn't, we take care of it.
So like surveillance intelligence type
Yeah,
mode. Oh,
yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. I mean, it's courageous that you took point and went after it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, so how does that play into where you are today? What made you choose financial planning, Chance?
You know, after I got out of the military, I'd done some traveling and I spent some time in some cold environments. Mind you, I grew up in Florida, okay?
Oh, yeah.
They sent me to Denver, to Alaska, and, you know, I'm in a state of shock out there. So when I got out of the military, I decided I liked Florida. I liked the winter there better than everywhere else that I had been.
Right.
It's back to Florida for me. And once I got there, you know, the will or the want to help people or to, you know, offer a service and what I can provide, this industry just kind of fell right into that wheelhouse, and that's what I stuck with.
You know, one thing I'm kind of already figuring out, in the brief time we're getting to know each other, you like to serve people.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, to me, that's what defines a true leader. And boy, especially these days, right? Leadership should start with the servant's heart, and I think you're to be commended, young man.
Thank you.
So listen, so I know, based on that information that you shared with me, legacy is a big part of who you are and a big part of what you do. Why is legacy planning so important for people in retirement?
You know, I think a lot of people miss a lot of opportunities that are there and available for them when it comes to legacy planning, and not understanding the importance of all of it. You know, so much of it is about protecting our loved ones, and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So there's just so many different opportunities. We know our law system is not the easiest to understand, and
Well, you ain't kidding.
how we can build that to make that happen for our families is so important.
In legacy planning, I mean, I know another area you touched on, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people overlook it, the importance of asset protection in legacy planning. What's that about, Chance?
Yeah, so, you know, I always tell people, protect what you can't afford to lose. It is a staple of our practice. And, you know, initially when I meet somebody, my first concern is always, how do we protect where you're at right now? And not just from any specific circumstance. I mean, it could be, you know, bad markets, it could be volatility, it could be politics, it could be health situations. I mean, there's so many things that we need to protect from, that we have to build a plan to be able to do that. And, you know, a lot of times people spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning out their retirements and legacy protection. And, you know, I try to instill that in anybody that I work with, like how important that aspect of it is.
So it's important to make sure you protect the asset before you worry about what you're going to do with it in the future, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, that brings me to a point, the element of time in financial planning in retirement, right? How important is it to make sure that a person is aware of their time horizon?
Yeah, I mean, let's take your primary residence, for example. I think a lot of people miss this point of it, right? We know here in Florida, we have homestead, for instance, right? Okay. Nobody can sue you and take your house from you. However, what a lot of people miss is the equity of that home is an attachable asset. Maybe not in a lawsuit, but in health situations, if there's a long-term care situation or anything like that. A lot of people miss that and don't understand the importance of needing to protect that portion of their estate.
That's a very interesting concept, is understanding that, so homestead will protect one aspect, but not every aspect, especially in providing for long-term care. And long-term care is one of the biggest challenges people face too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is the #1 reason for bankruptcy amongst retirees.
Really?
Yeah, they did a statistic You know, and the last time they ran this was 2014, and we know things haven't exactly gotten better or cheaper since then, right?
No doubt.
So the statistic was, you know, 2 out of every 3 people over the age of 65 use some form of long-term care in their lifetime.
Wow.
Over 70%, you know, and the average stay is 3 years. The average cost is about $100,000 a year.
$100,000 a year.
Yeah, and if you want, you can get a little break from that if you want to share a room with somebody and have bunk beds. Maybe
Yeah.
you get a little bit of break on that.
That sounds like fun.
But yeah, you know, I've had some interesting stories.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I've got a client named Jim, and Jim comes to me. This was the height of the pandemic, right when it started.
Mm-hmm.
Jim comes to me and he says, he gives me a call and he says, Chance, now Jim's an old Marine, right? I know
boy.
if I'm gonna see Jim, that's the only guy I'm seeing for the day.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's gonna
Yep.
be our day. So Jim calls and he says, Chance, you know, I'm driving myself crazy here. I've watched every TV show. I've watched every movie that I can think of. You know, I need to get out of this house, right? So I tell Jim, don't worry. I'm gonna come by. I've got this Fire Stick, and I've jailbroke this Fire Stick, and you can watch anything. So let's get past the part that I'm jailbreaking Fire Sticks to help out Jim, right? But I get there, and you know, I get everything hooked up, and we're talking, and I said, Jim, we've never actually talked about it. Do you have a long-term care plan? And he says, yeah, Chance, I do. And I was like, good, Jim. Who's it with? What company? And he tells me, well, it's Smith & Wesson. I keep it behind the door. That's my long-term care plan. I said, all right, Jim. What are you going to do if you can't remember where this is at, Jim?
Right.
You know, my second favorite one, my kids are going to take care of me. That's the second favorite one I hear all the time. And I have to remind people so often, if your kids are anything like myself, if something happened to my parents, on the drop of a dime, I'd be there. 100% I would. But I still have a wife and 3 kids and 4 dogs that I have to protect and provide for. I can't just quit my job and stay at home to take care of them. Right. So it's not that your kids wouldn't. The question is, can they?
Right.
You know, I can't stress it enough. Protect what you can't afford to lose.
Oh, that's so powerful. That's absolutely well said, because that is what it's about. The world keeps turning, right? And you can't just pause everything. You want to.
Correct.
But it's not possible, right? And so to your point, it's very important to plan for that long-term care.
Absolutely.
Listen, I understand today you brought a wonderful offer for the viewers out there in Florida. Would you share that with the folks, please?
Absolutely. So we at Strong Point have a proprietary retirement insider report. And that retirement insider report consists of 5 different areas of retirement planning. So we go from healthcare planning to income planning, investment planning, tax planning, and legacy planning, to completely look at it a holistic approach and make sure everything is taken care of correctly for you.
It's good stuff. And it's about relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Think about that for a second. Your relationships in your life. Everywhere you've gone, they define your success. The best friend that got you through school, that spouse or partner, right? Maybe a business partner, the relationship with your children. So who is your partner? What's your relationship like as you go through and into retirement? Now is the opportunity to pick up the phone and start a relationship. Chance and his team standing by to meet with you. 855-348-3018. It's a complimentary review. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Call 855-348-3018 right now for your own retirement insider review. Having a clear path to retirement is more than just your savings. This review will include a complete risk analysis on your portfolio, an in-depth fee analysis to determine how much you are and could be paying on those investments. And lastly, we're going to look at health care and legacy planning for you and your estate. To begin your retirement insider review, call Chance and his team at 855-348-3018 or use your QR code to schedule your appointment today. Whether your retirement is coming soon or you want to be certain you can stay retired, the Retirement Insider Review will help guide you through your financial planning needs. Call Chance and his team, 855-348-3018, or use the QR code to schedule your meeting today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Strong Point Financial in the Black. I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt. Again, I'm with founder, Mr. Chance Robinson of Strong Point Financial. Incredible segment talking about legacy, Chance. And, you know, it's important to understand how important a good plan is. And so I wanted to ask you a question. Why would it be important for someone to consider maybe a second opinion at this stage?
Well, a big part of having a plan is making sure it's bulletproof, making sure there's no chinks in the armor there. You know, they did a poll here recently, and they said the top 2 ways people are looking to get rich. Number 1 was I'm going to hit the lottery.
Yeah.
Number 2 was I'm going to sue somebody.
Really?
And I think we can all agree, how many of us know we are living in a lawsuit-happy society today?
Yeah, we absolutely are.
You know,
I think it's like the most litigious it's ever been.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't go a day in your life without it. I mean, if you turn on the TV or the radio or you drive down the street, what are you hearing?
Oh, yeah.
Every single day, you know, so it's blasted at us. And you've got all of these different aspects of your retirement that you have to think about. And if this is the number 2 reason that people are looking to get their hands on anything, how much of it is protected? How much of it is non-attachable assets?
Right. Yeah.
How much of it is attachable assets? How many can be levied, garnished, or taken away from me?
Wow. So there's a lot of different aspects to that asset protection side of it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have, you know, multiple different accounts. We're talking checking, savings, CDs, 401s, IRAs, all your 400 products, mutual funds, stocks, bonds. The biggest thing that most of all of those have is they're all attachable assets.
Wow.
And how easy do you think it is for somebody to find out what it is you have?
Oh, if they got a good personal injury attorney, very easy. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. The thing that a lot of people miss is that all of these different accounts are held where? At some publicly traded institution, which just means it's going to be public information. It's not that hard to find. And I know this from the military background. There's not a lot that's hard to find out there if you're looking for it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to protection, in the state of Florida specifically, we have 3 things that are non-attachable assets.
Okay.
Now we know homestead is there, but we also know there's some holes in that. You have life insurance being number 1.
Okay.
If I have any type of cash value or permanent insurance that I've built up a cash value in, they can never make you cancel your policy to pay out any sort of lawsuit or anything. Non-attachable asset, hands off. 7702 plans. And last but not least is annuities.
Really?
Absolutely.
So annuities, that word though, Chance, I mean, there's a lot of like trepidation around that word. I don't know why. People, I don't know if it's fear-mongering, I don't know what you call it, but it's like that word that everybody likes to debate.
Absolutely.
Is it good or not? So
Absolutely.
Can we put this topic to rest? Is it good or not?
So this is what I'll say about annuities. Why do they get such a bad rap?
Yeah.
Now, annuities have been around since the Roman ages, right?
Really?
Governments use them, corporations use them, businesses use them. Every politician
Wait,
has
since the
one.
Roman era, really?
Yeah, they've been around forever. They've had annuities forever.
Wow.
Right? The real question is, why is it if the corporations use them, school systems, governments, every presidential, you know, every past president has one, you know, every congressman has one. Why do we only hear bad things? And it's because they try to lump them all into the one pot like they're all the same. I'm not saying that there's not bad ones out there. What I'm saying is there's good and bad of everything.
Yes.
Are there good stocks and bad stocks? Are there good mutual funds and bad mutual funds? Are there good CDs, bad CDs? I mean, there's good annuities and bad annuities too. The difference is understanding which one is which, understanding what you have, and making sure you have the right one that you're trying to accomplish the goal out of, that you're trying to use it for.
Yeah. And isn't one of the, I mean, I would imagine annuity sometimes is a wonderful feature for folks that are looking to guarantee a lifetime income. I mean, isn't that like I tell you from my own standpoint, the biggest thing I worry about, Chance, is running out of money in retirement.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think this is one of those features that gets attached to them. But once again, then everybody thinks one way about that, right? To say that, well, if I have an annuity, I put that in there, I lose access to the principal and I just get an income stream. That's not how they all work.
Really?
Understand the differences between them so that you're using what's correct for you. That's what's most important.
And I would imagine that's probably the power in having an expert too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Understanding the information on the different features, because I think one of the biggest questions is that question you didn't know to ask.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, isn't that what a good advisor does, is probes and finds out information about us, right?
Correct.
So, so let me ask you this next question. So when it comes to legacy planning and asset protection, what's one of the areas you find it's the most common pitfall, or the area people overlook the most?
The lack of income planning.
Really?
So let's be honest about this. If we're gonna talk truths, statistically, women outlive men.
Yes.
However, men overwhelmingly make most financial investment decisions. It's all gonna wind up in her hands at some point, and she needs to understand that and make sure that there's a plan that's going to happen once a loved one does pass away. What am I going to do then? Because the light bill doesn't go down. The grocery bill doesn't go down.
True.
The water bill doesn't go down. These things don't just go away because a spouse passed away. And a lot of times they increase because people think, well, you know, if it's just me, but who wants to sit at home and just mourn 24/7? That's likely not the case. Families coming to check on you more. People are coming to visit, or you're out and about meeting with people or friends or family more than you typically were. When it was just you and your spouse, a day at home was relaxing together.
Yeah.
Not by yourself.
It's
It's
so
not
true.
the same way.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You know, I understand you get pretty involved in your community. You know,
Absolutely.
you and I were talking about some of these real nice client appreciation events.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm a little envious, right? Maybe I'm going to have to become a client.
Yeah.
But so I understand you do like a lot of seminars and education for people too. Would you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, so I've had my fair share of being, you know, featured on all of the different networks, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS,
Nice.
right? And having that platform to talk to, you know, a lot of people is good. But what I was finding was I didn't get the opportunity to really impact my local community, or to help people understand what these different programs are that are out there, or how it affects them individually. I mean, there's tons of things that come out that people just don't get an opportunity to actually sit down with somebody and ask them the questions. How does this affect me? Or how can I implement this to help me? So I started doing these smaller workshops around the city. You know, typically at restaurants or colleges, I'll hold courses and classes, and just inviting the community and give them that open floor, a chance to really ask questions and understand how it affects them and their situation specifically.
So you're talking about personalizing it to them in these webinars, seminars.
Absolutely.
Which is a big part of why you're here today, right?
Right.
So do me a huge favor. Would you remind the good folks of Florida what you are offering when they call in today, Chance?
All right, so once again, we are offering the full Retirement Insider Report. That Retirement Insider Report breaks down to 5 different areas of retirement: legacy planning, healthcare planning, investment planning, tax planning, and income planning. Every one of those aspects is covered in that report, and it's more of a step-by-step guide on what decisions are made, why those decisions are made, so you have a paper trail of it, and exactly how that is going to keep me on the path of achieving whatever goal it is that I'm looking to accomplish.
And again, it's a complimentary review.
Correct.
I've seen firms charge upwards of $1,500 for a session.
Right.
And you and your team are committed and dedicated some time just for some folks out there.
Absolutely.
The bottom line is you have to take action. Today is the day for change in your financial future. The 5 different areas. What if there's one area where you just missed something very key? Because that one area could affect the other 4, which could impact your entire retirement. Pick up the phone. Give Chance and his team a call. 855-348-3018. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Call 855-348-3018 right now for your own Retirement Insider Review. Having a clear path to retirement is more than just your savings. This review will include a complete risk analysis on your portfolio, an in-depth fee analysis to determine how much you are and could be paying on those investments. And lastly, we're going to look at health care and legacy planning for you and your estate. To begin your Retirement Insider Review, call Chance and his team at 855-348-3018 or use your QR code code to schedule your appointment today. Whether your retirement is coming soon or you want to be certain you can stay retired, the Retirement Insider Review will help guide you through your financial planning needs. Call Chance and his team, 855-348-3018, or use the QR code to schedule your meeting today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Strong Point Financial in the Black. We want to thank you for being with us today. Again, I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt, and I'm with founder, Mr. Chance Robinson of Strong Point Financial. Chance, thank you so much for being with us and sharing just, again, powerful information, stuff that impacts people's lives. I mean, that's what this is about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's important to take care of our money because name an area of our lives that money doesn't impact.
You know, they like to say it's not as important as, or people would say, money's not the most important thing, which it's not, but it's right up there with oxygen.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
Especially in America.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
again, how do you do pretty much anything without money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's an important aspect. So making sure you have a good plan. I wanted to get into a little bit with you, speaking about money. Market volatility has been on the front of people's minds. I know there's a lot of folks out there in Florida, maybe a little bit, fearful. Let's just be honest. They're probably a little fearful because the market's been all over the place, and they're really just trying to figure out, do I get in? Do I, get out? I mean, what do I do? Chance, what should a person do right now around market volatility?
When we look at the volatility of the market, the biggest thing that people need to understand is how it's controlled. Emotions predict so much
that's true.
of the aspects of the market.
That is so true.
But we have to almost leave emotions to the side when
Yes.
making financial decisions.
Yep.
When we just look back at a chart, look at the history of the market, let's say for the past 20 years, right? All the way back to 2000, our market has a very consistent pattern. If people would look back at that, I mean, we usually get about 5 really good years, then we'll start to see some volatility, then we'll get about 2 bad years. Then we get 5 more good years, some volatility, 2 bad years. I mean, it's been pretty consistent. What we learn as a society, and this was made famous by Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah.
What do we learn from the market history and trends as a society as a whole? The biggest thing that we learn is that we don't learn from history. Like, we repeat the same things
Well, that's true.
over and over and over. I mean, it's so consistent. And when we look at the market, realistically, it's a legalized gamble. We all understand that when we get into it. We know there's a risk. We know it could go up, it could go down. We know nobody has a crystal ball or can predict the future of the market. However, you can read charts and patterns, and you can see exactly where things are at, where things have been, and how likely that pattern is to repeat itself. So it's like this: if I gave everybody who's watching, right? If I gave everybody $100 and said, we're going to the casino, how many of you are going? And I want to make sure I got enough honest people watching the show because it's not your money, you're going to go, okay? So we sit down at the blackjack table, and your $100 turns into 2. 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 4. When's the best time to get off the table?
That's a good question.
Everybody will say right now, but what do most people do?
They stay in.
They stay. Oh, I'm hot. I'm on a roll. I can't lose. And then what happens?
You're right. They start to give it back.
Absolutely. If you play long enough, the house always wins. The market is the same situation. If you stay long enough, it's inevitable. It has market trends for a reason. So where we're at right now, a lot of you at home have probably heard your advisor say, stay the course, don't move, it's a paper loss, it'll come back, and that's absolute great advice. When you're 40, 45 maybe, you have to start looking at how many of you at home are still trying to get that penny stock that hits that grand slam overnight and makes $1 million.
Should I raise my hand on this one?
Yeah. Or how many of you want to be absolutely positively sure you'll never go broke? How many of you just want to keep what you got? And if you can make, 5-6% a year with no risk and no big fee, you're pretty happy at that point. And that's where, when we're looking at retirement planning, we have to start asking those questions. Where are we at right now? How much of it is switching from accumulation to preservation.
Oh, I like
and
that.
making sure I keep what I have.
Now you're talking about the power of time, aren't you? Because I think that is, again, isn't it an area where I think folks really overlook it? It's the time. They're like, hey, I don't have the time to go back and make up for this, right?
When we start looking at time, I mean, we know, and I'm not saying the market doesn't do good. We know that. We know over a 20-year time frame from 2000 to 2022, the market's up like 400%.
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
It's done phenomenal. But let's look at a 10-year time frame. Let's look at 2000 to 2010. The market's down over that time frame, right? So the closer I get to retirement, the less of that volatility I need in my portfolio. The more I need to worry about, you know, the consistencies that I can expect. I like to tell people a lot of times, look at the rule of 100. That means you take your age, subtract it from 100. If I'm 60 years old, 60% of my money should be in something I can't lose. The other 40%, if it fluctuates with the market and the market goes down 30%, is it gonna hurt? Yeah, it's probably still gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But is it gonna put you out? No, because you got a Band-Aid on it and 60% of your money is protected that you can't lose it. So those are the aspects that you gotta start looking at. And it's not just about, you know, accumulation. Preservation has to be built into that as well, especially when we're seeing the volatility that we're seeing right now.
And the important part to preservation is making sure they have an updated plan, right?
Absolutely.
So do me a favor, remind the good folks out there who maybe haven't called their advisors in a while. Maybe they've got a specialist that just specializes in accumulation and isn't really telling them what they need to know about retirement. Share with them what you're offering today when they call in. Won't you, Chance?
So we have a proprietary retirement insider report, and this retirement insider report breaks down all 5 key areas of retirement planning, from healthcare planning to investment planning to income planning, tax planning, and legacy planning. All of those things in a holistic approach. So this way the right hand knows what the left hand's doing, and we can look at everything and make sure we have a plan in place that's accomplishing exactly your goals to get to wherever it is that you're trying to go.
That's good stuff. Fantastic. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Just incredible information. And I want to thank you for being with us most of all. And I want you to think about something today, right now. One word. Love. What do you love? Who do you love? Why do you love it? What do you do what you do? Why is the purpose behind it? And what would you do if you had unlimited funds? A proper plan in retirement can do just that. But you've got to take action. You have to be the one leading the charge. Pick up the phone. Give Chance and his team a call. 855-348-3018. Again, it's complimentary. I want to thank you for being with us today. Be well and enjoy your retirement.